My question is, if Hijrah is obligatory in these hard times for the Muslims in the West, and what countries can we go to? Is moving to another country in Europe also considered Hijrah, or does it have to be an Arabic/African country? Excuses, if you already made a video about the subject, I will look it up. Salam alaikum. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. If you live in Belgium, and you feel that the Hijrah is mandatory, as some of the ulama of Islam explain, they say it's absolutely mandatory, regardless whether you can practice your religion or not, regardless whether you can take pride in your religion or not, regardless whether you are persecuted or not. Many of the ulama of Islam, they say that Hijrah, leaving the lands of kufr and shirk, is mandatory, mutlaqan, absolutely. And the concept of increasing the numbers of the people of kufr and shirk, living under their banner, living under their welfare, of their care, their kind treatment and care, living among these people, they say that that's haram, period. And that is something which clearly infringes al-wala' wal-bara. And you can't do it. It's the view of some of the ulama of Islam. And they have proofs and evidences to support this. They say that Hijrah is mandatory, regardless. Another ulama, they say Hijrah is mandatory for Muslims that cannot practice the religion where they're living. Muslims who do not feel safe from the fitna, the infatuation, the test, the temptation, the lust of alcohol, of drugs, of women, of men, of sex, and these things like this. Homosexuality and lesbianism, the church bells, atheism. Atheism. They teach our children about atheism in school, evolution, so on and so forth. So some of the ulama, they say that it's mandatory to make hijrah from this place. If you cannot practice your deen, it's haram to grow your beard, it's haram to pray in public, it's haram to do this where you're living. Or you can do those things, but it's so much fitna. And you don't have the ability to bear and deal with this fitna on a daily basis. Everybody clear on this? Then those ulama, they say in that case, it becomes mandatory. And if that isn't the case, then it's permissible to stay as a minority in a non-Muslim, Western, secular, nominal country. Everybody understand this? And then some, they may say, in 2017, the Muslim lands, obviously, inshallah, no matter what, they're always going to be, inshallah, relatively better, are similar to the non-Muslim lands, whereas there's the internet. And the song that's played in New York City is also played, what? In the Middle East. In the riba banks and the system of riba, there is, wahakala. So to give detail, what's important is, if you have the ability to make hijrah, and it's good for you and your family, you feel afraid in Belgium for your children, then that is what you should do without any hesitation. What countries can you go to? That's the answer that I cannot give. My limited knowledge is that most quote-unquote Muslim countries or quote-unquote Islamic countries or Arabic countries or African countries, most of them, to my limited knowledge, do not welcome people to migrate there. They don't welcome people, do not allow people to migrate there. You can work, you can visit, you can stay for some time, but to migrate and to become a citizen and live there forever, to my limited knowledge, not all, but most countries don't allow this. Most countries do not allow this, all right? Many countries, you may go to the airport, or you may speak to the people there, you may have a very hard time, in which they may not believe you that they're coming to make hijrah, to go to Ivory Coast, or to go and live in Malaysia or Indonesia, or to go to, I want to live in Egypt or Morocco. They may not believe you, and they may accuse you of being a spy. They may accuse you of being an infidel, of being a munafiq. Why are you leaving America to come live here in our poor third world country? Something's up. You hide something. Something's under your sleeve. This is a bitter reality. Rather, there's certain countries that I've been to, you may go to seek ilm. You can go there to seek knowledge. You say, I'm not here to stay, I just want to learn. They say, you're lying. There's no way that you're leaving America to come here. Wallahi. When I went to Yemen, I stayed in the airport for 14 hours before they let me out the airport. 14 hours. They said, there's no way you're coming here to seek knowledge. Something's up with you. Why do you know Arabic already? How do you speak Arabic? Where do you come from? 14 hours. That's almost 24 hours just to get out the airport. So the point is that I don't know of a specific country that I can advise you to go to. I'm sure there are. Allah says in the Quran that His earth is spacious. His earth is ever expansive. That's what Allah tells us. Where there's a will, there's a way. But a specific country in which is suitable for you to live in, pay close attention now, and you can have your savings and also do a little work, a specific country that allows this, I do not necessarily know. I don't necessarily what? No. Moving forward, it says, is moving to another country in Europe also considered hijrah? There are levels of hijrah. the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam, and pay close attention now, because many people they make a mistake regarding this issue. They make a mistake regarding this issue. He left Mecca. He didn't leave, but the companions left Mecca. He allowed them to leave Mecca to what, Abyssinia, under the rule of Najashi. Okay? Alright? Negus. Naam? Tayyib. So, this man was a Christian. And anyone who knows anything about Abyssinia, Ethiopia, that the northeastern corner, the Horn of Africa, Habasha, but specifically Ethiopia, is a cradle of Christianity. They say have the most authentic Christianity there, from the most authentic biblical scriptures, and the list goes on. So this was a stronghold for Christians. And they were also a world power as well. They fought the Arabs, they conquered many lands, Yemen, Hijaz, and the list goes on. So among those people, not only were they Christians, but they were also mushrikun as well, many polytheists. And the Prophet allowed the companions to go there because it was too hot in Mecca. The pressure, the persecution was too severe. And they went twice and they lived there. And the Prophet acknowledged that this man was a just ruler, he was king. He didn't oppress anyone in his land. Everybody understand this? Later on we know that some of the Sahaba, most of them they returned. They went back to Mecca, then to Medina. Some of them died there. Some people actually went there and apostated. And we know eventually Najashi radiallahu anhu, he accepted Islam and the Prophet prayed upon him. So, does this prove that you can make hijrah from one mushrik land or one oppressive land to another land of kufr and shirk, but it's less oppressive or less kufr and less shirk? Does it mean that? Was the system of legislation finished and complete during the early years of Mecca? Can you use the dalil from the early Meccan period? Can you use the dalil? Listen carefully. Can you use a story or an event from the early Meccan period, after there were years of development of the Sharia later on, in which the command to make hijrah, the command to make jihad, the command to live among the Muslims, the command to have hate and love, the command for these things was sent down in detail? Is that scientific? Like some people say, the Prophet ﷺ, he married Khadija and he stayed with her for 25 years without taking on a second wife. Right. Everybody understand this? The practice of polygamy among the Arabs was well known before Islam. There's no doubt about that. But was Surah An-Nisa sent down yet? Was Surah 33 sent down in Mecca before the Prophet was even a prophet? Can you use that as a dalil for something they did in the early days of Mecca as a proof after the entire legislation was sent down in Medina? That obviously anybody with any sense is going to at least say, let's slow down. At least what? Slow down. Let alone that's rejected. Ilmiyan. Everybody understand this? Because Allah completed the religion what? Later on. And them going to Abyssinia was a means of necessity. And it wasn't necessarily a dalil that you can go from one Kafir country to another Kafir country, and that's hijrah. The maqsood of hijrah is to go from the lands of kufr to the lands of what? Islam. Everybody understand this? The lands of dhulm to the lands of justice. Now, does that necessarily mean that you can't do this? We're not saying it doesn't mean that, but we're saying that that's not the absolute pure, organic understanding of the word what? Hijrah. And that's a ghalat. Yaqa fi kathir. Kathir wa kathir. Many people, they make this mistake. Alright, and there are other examples as well. So therefore, if you go to a land in which the oppression isn't as bad, there are more Muslims in this country, in France or Germany or London or Birmingham or wherever you go, there's more knowledge there. They have graduates of Medina, graduates from this country, tulab of this sheikh there, and it's a stronger Islamic personality and identity there, then go. Bid'nai ta'ala, and hopefully that's a relative type of hijrah. But that does not necessarily mean that that is the actual concept of what? Hijrah. That's the most important thing. So bid'nai ta'ala, there are levels, and if you have to suffer, then at least minimize the suffering. Wallahu a'lam.